What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. And my, oh my, do we have some breaking news. Owen, press the button.
Breaking news.
It's been a while since we pressed this, isn't it? Yes, we do have some breaking news. If I look sweaty and out of breath, literally, I'm in the shop. I'm in the shop. I'm at the till. I'm literally at the till sorting something out, and I see a David Ornstein post pop up, and I go, Did that say Manchester United and Youri Tielemans? Did it? Wow, it's escalated since then, because not only were we close to signing him, we've got a here we go. We've got a here we go already. Let's get straight into this, folks. If you're just coming in through the door, you're going, what's going on right now? This is literally exploded out of nowhere. And also, I suppose it does add to the notion that we have said many times, and I've said this many times here on the channel, which is nobody really knows what Manchester United are doing. They don't. You know, this idea, this narrative that because we don't hear anything, stuff isn't happening behind the scenes is totally false, regardless of whether, you know, you like the deal or you don't like the deal. We'll talk about that in a bit, because I can see already in the chat, this is going to, well, it is dividing people. I'm already seeing a lot of comments, which is, I really like this deal. He's a really technical player. He's a really good player. He's exactly what we need. There are others that are going, this smells desperate. He's 29 years old. A couple of years ago, he was a free agent. He got relegated with Leicester, but he's done really, really well, actually, at Aston Villa. He's really, really good in their midfield. But is he what Manchester United needs? We're going to be talking about all of it. We're going to be talking about all of it. But yes, it is real. It is legitimate. It was first broken by David Ornstein himself out of nowhere, an exclusive from David Ornstein saying that Manchester United were in advanced talks to sign Youri Tielemans from Aston Villa. All parties in contact as Manchester United try and finalise. 29-year-old midfielder, keen on the move. Ederson deal is off for now. There is so much weirdness on this Ederson stuff. We'll touch on that in a bit. As of now, what we know now, the Ederson deal is off. You know, remember when Flex and myself were speaking about this the other day, saying there's so much weirdness and the language being used around this Ederson deal is really, really strange. We then get news that it's off. We then get news from the club that it's not off. Then we get news that, no, he's flown back home. And then we get news of, well, he was never really even in Manchester to do the medical. Then we get some stuff just in the last basically hour saying United might come back to it. United might come back to that and maybe revisit and renegotiate. But so that's how it started maybe like half an hour ago. Legitimately, this is how quickly this one is moving. So Fabrizio, maybe then the quickest from here we go soon to here we go, right? Because we've got, this is the starting point where, you know, Ornstein says it, then Fabrizio says United are closing in on Youri Tielemans from Aston Villa, deals at a very advanced stage as per David Ornstein. And then in the space of me getting these things together, getting ready to go live, we then see this. We get the here we go already. So once again, this idea that deals can't be done quick, and this idea that if we don't hear anything, that means nothing's happening, because as I've said many a times, I mean, the guys aren't just sitting there on their hands. They are doing stuff. Whether that's what you want them to do, that's a different conversation. But we get the here we go from Youri Tielemans, from Fabrizio Romano on Youri Tielemans, rather, saying, Youri Tielemans to Manchester United. Here we go. Manchester United seemingly have activated a 41 million euros. What's that? Around 35-ish million pounds, 36 million pounds, something along those lines. Release clause into Tielemans' contract at Aston Villa. Verbal agreement also with the Belgian midfielder Andrey Santos and Youri Tielemans after the Ederson deal was called off. So first of all, smash a like on the like button. We've got over 1,000 people watching. As you can see, developing news story, really developing news story. I'm going to make sure that I've got a social feed that's just running, just so because in past experience, usually you go live and then 10 million other posts get put out there. So when they do get put out there, if you guys might have to be kind of my eyes and ears a little bit as well. And then I can get some of these posts up on the screen, as is per the new technology. We can get this stuff up on the screen really, really quickly as well as we can for this. Let me hide this. And then I can actually get some stats up on Youri Tielemans from last season as well. You guys might want to see that. So there you go. There's some info on Youri Tielemans. And I do have a couple of super chats actually that I want to read. Although when I do, it would be good if I actually hit that graphic and move that one here. So Don F says, very orny news. Well, you know, it's not midday yet and it's warm. Probably you want to get too orny in this kind of weather, because, you know, sweaty, clammy. You don't really want to do that, but we'll move on. Don F also says, this is an excellent sighting. Forget the whiny brats. Well, look, we'll talk about that in a bit, because I don't want to go down the path of if you don't like Youri Tielemans, you're a whiny brat, because that's not fair. But at the same time, as I've mentioned many times recently as well, I don't think if you feel positive about this deal, you're toxic positive as well. You're the problem with the club, you know. You don't need any of that. Oh, right. This is why I wanted to have the social post open as well. This might be the quickest deal of all time, as what is going on. Right. If I get this up on the screen from David Ornstein, going back to it again, saying Youri Tielemans move from Aston Villa to Manchester United through £35 million release clause in midfielder's contract. Aston Villa had no wish to sell and offered him a new deal, but left with little choice due to the mechanism, and Manchester United set to proceed on the transfer. So once again, right, he's so terrible, he's so washed, he's so awful that Aston Villa wanted to keep him. I've got kind of, I'll be honest with you, I say mixed feelings. That's probably not the right word, right? I've got, I'm a bit of both on this. I think there is always something to criticize a transfer deal for, right? Always something to criticize a transfer deal for. And there is this aspect, and it's so annoying within the Manchester United fan base, which is any player we go after, we pick every single fault apart with them, right? We immediately focus on their negatives as opposed to their positives. We immediately focus on, so you saying Youri Tielemans, it's like, right, he's got no legs, he can't run, right? And we've heard that before, haven't we? With Casemiro and Kobe and what have you. I think there are pros and cons to this one, honestly. I think the con would be, right, again, looking at the midfield rebuild, I feel like we do need legs in there. We still need more legs in there. Is it still really the kind of midfielder that we need? I feel like we need that proper, you know, ball-winning six that can cover a lot of distance. There are flags there, red flags. But I think at the same time, I think Youri Tielemans at 29 for £35 million in this market, you know, I think that's a bit of a steal. And I do think it's one of those transfers, again, because we do have this, we pick the faults in every transfer, that if you had another top six club spend £35 million on Youri Tielemans, we'd probably all go, that's a very shrewd deal, that. That's a really shrewd deal. Imagine if Arsenal put that bid in, £35 million Youri Tielemans, you go, that's not bad. We need to do those kind of deals. Or if for instance, if Spurs, with this midfield rebuild to add to it, where Youri Tielemans £35 million, we'd be going, why can't we be on those kind of deals? Why can't we be on those kind of deals, right? So I think in terms of value in this market right now, when you've got players going for £85 million at 21 years of age with 2 years of Premier League experience, not that he's a bad player, Mateus Fernandes, because I wanted him. But I think in this market, 29 years of age, isn't Bruno Guimaraes 29, I want to say? Is he 29 years of age? I forget. In this market, I think that's a shrewd bit of business. Now, once again, it's a bit like the Andrey Santos deal in the sense that if the window shuts tomorrow, and this is what we've got for the summer, right? If it's, well, don't worry, our midfield sorted because we got Youri Tielemans and Andrey Santos. That's when you go, no, that's not enough, right? That's not enough. We still need more. We know we still need more. But in terms of the player, I'm not opposed to it. I mean, again, Aston Villa, this is when we do talk out both sides of our mouth as Manchester United fans. we praise Aston Villa for some of their like, I tell you what, though, they got a good midfield, Aston Villa, and they play some really good football, and they do this and they do that, But once it then gets into Manchester United territory, that's when it's bad. But I do understand certainly the feeling of, well, this can't be it. Fair. Yeah, fair. I would say that's fair. It can't just be, again, we've rebuilt the midfield now. Not so much. But at the same time, as I've mentioned before, that you need a squad. This is the other part, right? You need a squad. You do need a squad. We're playing in all these competitions next season, and we have been so in the past, and how many seasons we do so often because we do this a lot when we sign players as well. If we sign this person, then what's that going to mean? Well, for this person's going to be out the team, or that person's going to be out the team. What's that mean if this person's going to be out the team, or that person's going to be out the team? And you sort of go, well, again, it shouldn't really work like that. It shouldn't really work like that. Again, you need multiple options in there. And as we've said, I think what Youri Tielemans does do is he raises the technical ceiling of the midfielders that we've got. Kobe, we know obviously he's got a high technical ceiling, but Youri Tielemans adds to that. Now, again, it's when I talk about red flags, because there are red flags for me for this deal. I look at how that whole Leicester thing ended, because I remember there was a lot of frustration remember when Leicester did he go down with Leicester? I think he did. And there was and he left on a free then. And there was a lot of talk about how committed he was. Did his head get turned? Because I think for like the last 18 months of his Leicester tenure, if I recall correctly, there was a lot of links to him going to other clubs. So what's this going to look like? And they thought he might leave, and he didn't. And I want to say it was something to do with his contract. I might be making that up. So I'll hold that one. But at the same time, he's done really, really well for Aston Villa in an Unai Emery team, which we can talk about the legs, but also as well, Unai Emery asks a lot of his team. He really, really does. And like I said, in this market, 29 years of age, I think a lot of people look at the age and maybe think that 29 means he can't walk now anymore, or he's got nothing to offer at 29 years of age. This is a guy that again did really well with Aston Villa last season, and they had a very successful season too. So I look at it as, for £35 million, it'd be totally different if this was a higher price. But for £35 million, I think we will look at this signing, honestly. And there will be games next season where we go, £35 million for Youri Tielemans. I tell you what, that's a bit of a steal. I tell you what, he's in this midfield. He's actually, well, I tell you what, yeah, he's good. A bit like, when Christian Eriksen came to Manchester United. And even then at the time, we were kind of like, well, on a free, I suppose. But from Brentford, obviously, he'd had the health issue with his heart. And then he played that season, before he got injured against Reading. And we were like, I tell you what, fucking Christian Eriksen, he's all right, isn't he? Look at him. He's good. I remember we beat Arsenal at Old Trafford. Was that the 3-1 that day? We were like, oh, bloody hell. He's not bad, is he? So I think it'll be a shrewd bit of business. But once again, it must be stressed. Seeing some positives in this signing does not mean we don't need to get any more midfielders. Yes, we do. It still feels like we need that extra one on top of those two. We absolutely need it. We need it. But I'm probably just talking to the void here when it comes to this, but I think you're allowed to have multiple different viewpoints on this deal. I think there are red flags, but I also think it's a shrewd bit of business. I don't think it's the end of Manchester United's business too. And also the other part of it, which must be stressed, is that this deal should, I think, once again, completely prove the fact of we have to be really careful with this like whinging of, we don't hear anything. So they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything. This Man United recruitment staff, they don't fucking do anything. They don't do nothing. They sit there on their hands. If I don't hear what these guys are doing, they must be doing nothing. Nothing. Because if it was important, they tell me, okay? They tell everybody. They don't fucking work like that, all right? It was the same with Andrey Santos, wasn't it? Andrey Santos, ORNSTEIN pops up, or I think it might have been Andy Mitten first before that, but very quick, United going after Andrey Santos. Day or two later, yeah, he's done. That was quick. Youri Tielemans, an hour ago. ORNSTEIN pops up. Yeah, it's done now. Well, advanced talks, and then 30, 40 minutes later, it's done. So they can work fast. Now, granted, this one probably expedited by a release clause, fair. But this idea, this narrative that Man United are sitting on their hands not doing anything in the market is bullshit. Now, are they active because they've got this big strategic plan, or are they active because they're scrambling and plans that they did have gone by the wayside and they're trying to figure things out? Maybe. I'll give you that one, maybe. But I do think because of, once again, the PTSD and the trauma, we do sometimes do a bit of a disservice to those people there. They're not doing anything. They're totally incompetent. And as I've said with every transfers, the Spurs ones and these ones, we'll see in 6 months' time, 9 months' time, or by, as we get into the season about how good this is or not. But I'm getting Fleck on the phone. Fleck, you're live on your own channel right now. I was telling the story about I was in the shop in the queue, and then I see something pop up, and David ORNSTEIN says Youri Tielemans going to Manchester United. It's basically a done deal. Now we've had it. Here we go. It's a release clause. It's going to be £35 million in this market. 29 years of age. There's pros and there's cons. There's legs, there is age, but there's also a midfielder that Aston Villa, which ORNSTEIN says did not want to sell. They did not want to sell. In fact, they even offered him a new contract, and he said no, he wanted to join Manchester United.
Yeah, I thought I'd come on really quick because my train's about to come here in 2 minutes, and I'll do a reaction video later on. See if my Villa guys want to come on as well. But quick one for me before you hear more from me later. I'm still just shocked. Can you hear me all right, buddy? I'm on headphones.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're just shocked because you're just like, what the fuck is happening? Where did this come from? How, when, who, what, where, how? I just don't know how to take it in. And I think it is that as well. It is a very shrewd bit of business. 35 million. There's a lot of pros. There are some cons as well. But clearly, it looks like an opportunistic signing. And you look at it and go, well, as long as you add to that in the right way, someone like Tielemans can bring a lot to what Man United are trying to do. But if we don't recruit well enough around him, it could also be a very not insignificant bit of business, but sort of not the best move. Yeah. So, oh my God, this train is packed. Right. Owen, I'm off. Thanks. You're not going to hear from me later on.
It was a nice teaser. It was a teaser.
I'm off.
It was a teaser.
Cut long story short, I like the look of it. I'm still in shock. Yeah. I don't know what it means for the rest of the squad building, but the biggest thing about it is none of us know what the squad building looks like. It's just mental now.
Yeah.
But exactly. I'll see you later.
Yes. Nice one. There goes Fleck. You can catch more from him later on. Just again, some interesting ones here. I prepped these before, and this is the beauty of the new technology that we have here. Shout out Just Josh Media, graphics guru, visual ninja, right? Because he is unbelievable. Because what we can do now, we get new technology. This is going to be really, really exciting for the season ahead. Some of you guys have been asking where have certain shows been going or whatever, because we've been putting so much effort into upgrading into all of these new bits of graphics and bits of technology or whatever. So this is very, very exciting. But yes, looking at some of these statistics here, you can see on the screen. I don't know why that says 2020 to 2021, because that's not true, because he wasn't even there at that time. So just Josh Media graphics guru, he can fix this. These are from last season, obviously. But just quite interesting looking at some of these stats. Now, obviously, you can say, well, Cobby played significantly less minutes last season, but it's just more of a comparison of what we've got and what we had, and if there's going to be upgrades, if it's going to be plugging gaps or what have you. Casemiro, who we know was fantastic for us last season, one of our players of the season. Although, like you can see there, right, with Casemiro, actually, so only the goals. I didn't realize that Youri Tielemans got 6 goals last season as well. I didn't know if he got that many, to be honest with you. But interesting. But Youri Tielemans, Casemiro, very different kind of players, midfielders, in fairness. Some other ones, we can compare the two signings that we just got. We can see here Youri Tielemans and Andrey Santos. Again, difficult comparison versus last season because Andrey Santos played so few minutes for Chelsea. He was more of a cameo off the bench kind of guy. But I think what it does do with those stats that are up on the screen for Tielemans is that actually it does show that, again, this idea that Youri Tielemans wasn't an integral player, an integral player for Aston Villa last season. I mean, again, he was massively, massively, massively important. And this is not a guy who has fallen off. I think maybe, again, this idea a little bit that after Leicester, because there was this feeling of, for a period of time at Leicester, he was really, really good. And this is when Leicester under Brendan Rodgers were constantly flirting with Champions League football all the time. If you remember that, was constantly, I think they had, it was at one point, unless I'm mistaken, I'm trying to remember what it was. There was, let me get the here we go thing up on, just so people are jumping in. Sometimes people jump in and go, oh, did you know? Here we go. For that Leicester team, they had a stat at one point, which was they spent like the longest amount of time in the Champions League spots without qualifying for the Champions League, or something along those lines. It was a really incredible stat. So they were doing well. And like I said, I think in the last sort of 18 months or so, Leicester, it didn't go great. And then he's gone to Aston Villa. And again, I think that he's been massively integral there. They wanted to keep him as well. They wanted to keep him so badly they offered him a new contract. According to David Ornstein, that's not even speculatory. That's fact. If it's Ornstein, it's fact. So Ornstein said that they wanted to keep him, and for 29 years of age, I think we saw it with like the likes of Christian Eriksen in the Premier League. You would say he's got, 29? And depending on with his style of play as well, he could be a player that actually goes deeper and deeper and deeper back into the midfield as he gets older too. And he's got 4 or 5 good years at the top level, I would say. And for 36 million quid, I think that's a shrewd bit of business. I think there are absolutely red flags. And again, two things can be true, or multiple things can be true. We need more, but I tell you what will be really. He'll come up clutch in games next season. Is those games where we've been playing that kind of lower block, and I'll tell you what, we just can't break that team down. Why? We ain't got those players that can just, carry the ball, pass the ball forward, or their first instinct is to play forward, not play sideways, play forward. They can read the game. Football IQ, someone said it in the chat, right? We just need someone that can, fine. We've got quality players, but you ain't got that person that's sprinkle a bit of gold dust that isn't Bruno Fernandes, and find someone that's, that isn't maybe Cobby, because let's face it, with his injury history, Cobby's going to probably be injured at some point next season. And Youri Tielemans would have the best fitness record actually as well. But, we've always said about technical ceiling of this team. Technical ceiling of this team. There have been, even last season, under Michael Carrick, when we were winning games, how often have we said, fuck me, this team can't pass the ball? We've got some good attacking players, but that midfield, you would think, stop it, pass, 5 yards. Some of them can't do it. Legitimately. We've seen Ugarte play. Recover soon, my friend. But we've seen it. We don't really have that issue with Youri Tielemans. But just like when we got Andrey Santos, just like now when we've got Youri Tielemans, on to the next. It is on to the next. We'll be like, tell you what, came out of nowhere. And now, this is when I talk about last summer and having a little bit more trust. A lot of people won't have that level of trust, even if it's a small amount. But I hope it does actually give a little bit of maybe I'm guessing they're working on something else. Let me actually have a look here about the injury history. Some of you guys are saying this of Tielemans. This is the beauty of being live, of course, is we can do these things in real time. That's a new one for Just Josh Media. We need injury stuff on the screen as well. Right. Let's have a look. Ooh, where's my Gary Neville? Where's my Gary Neville sound? Do I even have that anymore? I don't even know if I do. Ooh. Right. So it wasn't that bad until last season. It wasn't that bad until last season. You know, I'm looking at the times when he was at like Leicester and whatever, 3 games missed, 10 games. Yeah, it's all right. 7 games, 9 games, 11 games. Yeah. Last season, 23 games missed. Yeah, there's quite a few last season. He had it was 2 injuries though. It wasn't which is that this is why I always say, you know, when the big concern is the multiple small ones. 2 injuries. It was calf problems. We've heard the Mason Mount calf problems. And he had an ankle injury. They both kept him out for the same amount of time. One was for 12 games missed. One was 11 games missed. So that was 2 injuries. That was it. But again, if this guy was so injury prone and terrible, I say terrible, but if the injuries were massive concern, why would Villa be going out their way to try and keep him, right? Why would they be going out their way to try and keep him? So this is going to sound very copy, but this is why you spend 35 million. 35 million quid, right? 35 million quid on a player with his experience, on a player with his quality. Again, the more I think about this deal, yeah, honestly, the more I think about this deal, I just look at it actually as a shrewd bit of business, but a bit like the Andrey Santos transfer. I think its perception is going to be heavily dependent on the remaining business that we do. If we do go and get another 2 midfielders, and one is that more ball winner, can carry can cover a lot of distance rather, maybe plus somewhere else. I think we look at these Youri Tielemans and Andrey Santos deals and go, okay, that's not bad. You know, that's not bad. We'll go with that. So, Fresh PMT says he did not get 6 goals last season. His stats from 2021 season. Just Josh Media, I was just praising you. Is this accurate? Is this accurate? Right, let's have a look. Last season. Let's have a look. Stats, current season. I don't want to see all seasons, just last season. Thank you. Let's have a look. Just Josh Media, graphics guru, visual ninja. You are a disgrace. You're a disgrace. I thought the thing at the top says I was just now I don't know what to believe. Are we even signing Youri Tielemans? Are we even signing Youri Tielemans? Well, I'll read him out. Last season, he started 35. Well, he got 2 goals in the Europa League, actually. He got 2 goals in the Europa League. And he got 7 assists, 2 yellow cards is what he got. So what did these ones say? Now, to tell you what now I'm interested. I'm all in now. I'm interested in this. We're just basically working out bugs on the air, but fuck it. Hide that. Oh, I've got to hide this. That is hilarious how I was just praising it as well. Isn't this great? Right, let's have a look. Compare the players. Yeah, it smells off, isn't it? Smells off. Wow. This is what live cussing. Live cussing out Just Josh Media. Just Josh Media, graphics guru, visual ninja. Wow. So we're just doing this Youri Tielemans. We've signed Youri Tielemans, by the way. That happened quick, didn't it? Yeah. Got the stats up on the screen. They're wrong. They're from 2020 to 2021. Mate, well, depending on where it's in 2020, we didn't even have COVID yet at that point. This is pre-pandemic, some of them, maybe. Depends. Well, 2020 season, when did that start, actually? Did the because the 2021 started later. This is pandemic stats. It's even worse. It's pandemic stats. That's not real. Remember pandemic? Man United, we got the record for away unbeaten, but nobody was there. You know, if a tree falls and nobody hears it, does it make a sound? If Manchester United win away, but no fucker was there to watch it, did it even happen? Wow, yeah, but we got to fix it. We got to fix it. Wow. So no more transfer stats for now. No more transfer stats for now. We'll get that one. But yes, if you are just joining us, Manchester United, we can get that up on the screen. Manchester United. Here we go for Youri Tielemans, £35 million ish for a release clause, and deal done. And exactly, Asher. Let's get Asher up for her opinions. Actually, Asher, you need to be held accountable too, because you said Brazil were going to win the World Cup. You said Brazil were going to win the World Cup. Any thoughts on that? Miles off. Well, don't try it. You know what I mean? Try to do that. Accountability. That's what we do. That's what we do on this. Yeah. Accountability for Just Josh Media. Accountability for Asher, and accountability for Fleck. You know, we got to do it all. Accountability when I had to have the lemons. Never again. So yes. So actually, what I will say is, next time we're going to be back, who knows? Who knows who we'll be talking about? Who knows who we're going to be talking about? Who knows who we're going to be going after? And it won't, but it should. But it should just go to show that if we don't hear it, that doesn't mean that nothing's going on. Man United work behind the scenes very, very silently. Whether or not it's the players that you approve of is a different conversation, but certainly lots of different moves happening fast. Right, let's get to these super chats here. Right, JDC says, defend this 29-year-old injury-prone Plater. Well, I just spent half an hour doing it, so there you go. I was a bit late to the party. Interesting to know, if out of curiosity, whether or not you are a Manchester United fan, JDC, out of curiosity, because I'm just interested to know, because sometimes when these signing streams, you get a lot of just like all football fans. Sometimes you get Villa fans come in. Sometimes you get Man United fans come in. I would just say from if you are a Manchester United fan point of view, because I saw a bit of this with anyone that we've signed, we go so fucking hard on sometimes like players or people that haven't even kicked a ball for us yet. You know what I mean? And I'm just a bit like, oh. But it's a fine line, isn't it? Because I think you should be able to express your dissatisfaction with the deal if you're not happy with it. But at the same time, like they're a Man United player. So if they're a Man United player, you got to, you know what I mean? You got to back them, ain't you? You know what I mean? Once they sign on the dotted line and they cross the white line, then you got to back them, haven't they? So yeah. Tabrez says, so many different mice going on here. Amazing signing by Ineos. We've signed 2 midfielders for less than what Fernandes cost Spurs. More signings like this, please. And this is what I was saying earlier on. It certainly really does divide opinion. You've got a really positive one from Tabrez there. You've got a really negative one there. Brian says, I love the player. He dictates the play in midfield. Daniel Luciano says, good player, but lacks mobility and defensive ability. Maybe ability. Daniel Luciano says, very happy with this, but want a true CDM now. Agreed. Matt says, great signing in the event we still get a solid DM. And that's effectively what I was saying as well. I was saying that I think this signing and the Andrey Santos signing, I think how good or bad they are, which is, it feels weird to say that they're going to be dependent on other deals, but I do think it does kind of shape it, doesn't it? You know, which is so odd that deals can either become good or bad depending on other people that we buy. If we get a couple more players and a proper sort of like Daniel Luciano's mentioned earlier on, if we get like a proper 6, a proper ball winner, covers a lot of distance, you got to tell you what, that Tielemans one, that's a shrewd bit of business. But if we don't get those, and next season we're having, we're playing a game against a team and we're getting really overrun, and we've got Tielemans playing, we'll look at him and go, oh, Tielemans, why 35 million? We were just penny pinching. But that's hopefully, fingers crossed, isn't the role that he's being bought for. If he ends up in that role, that's a problem, isn't it? That's an issue. So it is a bit dependent on what else is going to happen. But as a player, for the price, in terms of the overall deal, because this was kind of what we were talking about with Mateus Fernandes going to Spurs, weren't we? Saying that multiple things can be true of that deal. He's a good player. I'd have wanted him at Manchester United. I think 85 million upfront cash is too much. I think that's too much for that. That's a bad deal. I think this, in terms of the value, the quality of the player, the Premier League experience, I think that's a shrewd bit of business. I think, but need more certainly. Need more through the door, and that can't be it. But as a little bit of shrewd side business, hey. I'm not bad. So there you go, folks. If you haven't already, click the like button. Oh, Ash is excited as well. If you haven't already, click the like button. Where are we at actually in terms of likes? We've got over 1,600 people watching, but we're not even at 500 likes yet. Good grief. Yeah, wow. You bark at them, Asher. You tell them. What do they need to do? Hit the like button and that. Yeah, I mean, why I hold you up expecting that you're actually going to say a word is kind of ridiculous, isn't it? So we'll put you down. That's probably her saying I need to go out for a walk or need to go out for a wee or whatever. So yes, I'll wrap it up there. Anyway, guys, enjoy your afternoon or morning. It's still morning. Fucking hell, I thought it was the afternoon. Well, you never know what could happen by the end of the day. Good grief. Wow, you never know. Might as well. I might. Hey, yes. Yes. Well. Like you sign Youri Tielemans and you go crazy. Honestly, unbelievable. Wow, if you want to speak, you got anything to say about the Brazil situation? Nah, silence. Wow, exactly. When off camera, you want loads of words, but not on camera. Shocking. Anyway, guys, enjoy your morning / afternoon. I'm out of here. Peace.